Democrat or Republican?
She is a Democrat who lives in a little tiny gerrymandered sliver of the district in Long Beach. She rarely comes out to the Beach Cities area. The big joke is if you see her west of the 110 freeway, take a picture, okay? Because she, even though she has an office sitting in Redondo Beach.
How many terms have she been in office?
She's first term in this office.
Okay.
She was in the Assembly for 6 years, representing a good portion of Long Beach. But again, she was in charge of the budget committee.
Wow.
So you want to know why we're in a spending mess?
Because of your senators.
That's right. And the thing is that the Republican Party didn't see the opportunity when the seat became open when Deborah Bowen left, and I was surprised about that. This time around, Jenny Orpeza is going to have a challenger in the general election, something she hasn't had during her entire time running in Sacramento. She's always had the primary challenge, so she's always been able to go way left, right? Way left. I'm doing the thing here, left. And now I'm going to challenge her to come back here in the center right, where this district is, where the, it's not just aerospace, it's energy, it's entertainment. Entertainment is watching their jobs go to Vancouver, go to Minneapolis, go to Houston. That's right. And it's time for us to fight for those. And then the Longshoremen, where I live, we're watching those jobs go to Vancouver as well, because ships can get to Vancouver 2 days faster than they can to Los Angeles.
Okay, so now you've stated to me things you don't like about her.
Yeah.
What's so special about John? We know that you have a little Latin flavor to you. We know you got a little Irish going. You're obviously a great chef. You obviously know great flavoring and movement.
My wife's the better chef, by the way, so I'm not going to claim
now,
that.
You're married.
So,
how many children do you have?
I have two beautiful young girls. Absolutely. Hey, honey, how you doing? I always tell everybody, hey, I love beautiful women so much, I married one, right? But we have two beautiful little girls, 5 years and 1 year old, and we're going to, this is why I'm doing this. It's one thing, I could have said, hey, you know what? Aerospace jobs are leaving. I could just go with them. I've even offered the opportunity to do that.
But you have a desire to make a change in your community. What is it about you that's different? Tell me about why you're running it and why someone should vote for you.
Well, people should vote for me because I've been through a lot of the stuff that is facing California. I was laid off in 2002. I spent 5 months. In fact, it was 45 days after I was married. And I'll tell you, that really hits home with me, that when people are looking for work, people are talking about, the struggles. I was blessed that I only went through it for about 5 months. And I understand, though, that we need to be thinking about those people. When unemployment goes from 4% to 14%,
wow.
That means that 1 in 10 people that we know, on average, is unemployed who wasn't unemployed 3 years ago. And it's time for us to start fighting for those people. And it's time to start fighting for those that may be working now, but are either underemployed, where they're working something below them, or just afraid. Day in, week in, week out, people are thinking, is my job next? And we need to reestablish that job security for them. And so, for me, that is the main reason why I'm running. But another big issue is watching the Sacramento take all the local revenues from our city councils and our school boards. And you're
job, unemployment, revenues. These are all things that everyone's talking about. But you have do you have a plan that you have to attack that? What is your plan?
Absolutely.
I liked his plan.
Well, I'll tell you what. The biggest thing we have to do is we have to start looking at the regulations and things that are chasing those jobs away. Our business owners know why they're not creating more jobs. They are looking at. They have other states literally visiting them. The governors of Colorado and Texas. Whenever you hear about Governor Perry coming out to do a little, tour of all the Republican clubs, you know what? Just remember something. Those aren't the only places he's visiting. He's visiting our top 50 to 100 CEOs and all them and saying, hey, you know what? We have a great business climate in our state. Come over. And this is something that Meg Whitman talks about because she used to be one of those top 50 CEOs. Right. And so that's why the reason why we need her in, just for a real quick plug, is that she was on the other end and she knows what they're doing. And it's always good to have an insider who now will say, I'm going to use that against them. And that's
one thing I often say about Mitt Romney, he was her mentor.
That's right.
She worked for him. So, you know, a lot of people think it's just Republicans running all over the space, not knowing what they're doing.
Right.
We are all connected. We understand each other. And right now we need a movement of business and structure in the American system. And unfortunately, the current administration is not about that.
Well, because our issues aren't Republican issues. They're California issues, you know.
But they're strong business ethic issues.
Well, because the businesses, you know, like I said, is
fiscal responsibility
people, all
issues.
parties. It's fiscal responsibility issues. But it's getting people employed again, because we can talk about all the other issues. Hey, you know what? When we have more taxpayers, that's how you get more tax revenue.
And amen to that. Can you say that one more time?
When you have more taxpayers, then you have more tax revenue.
Okay, so here's a twister for you.
Yes.
President Obama's eventually going to put on the table amnesty. Amnesty, of course, as you know, when you have illegal immigrants, and we have that big problem in California of people coming over here. And he's saying that, you know, we're just going to, with one swipe of the pen, he'll make them all legal. And, you know, that would create more voters and more taxes. What do you feel about that?
It will create more voters. I don't know if it'll create more taxes. The people here, I mean, you suddenly make somebody a citizen. Does that suddenly get them, it gets an opportunity to draw more unemployment? So I would love to see the numbers that say that we're going to have more taxpayers than more people on the unemployment rolls. I think, you know, if I had to do a quick guess just based on what I'm seeing, I think the exact opposite is going to happen. We're actually going to have more people drawing unemployment. And, of course, in California, we're already having that problem. We have the most lenient unemployment procedures on the books. And so if you're unemployed in any other state, Alabama, Mississippi, up in New Hampshire or whatever, you can come to California, and unlike other states where you have to be employed there for 6 months or a year or whatever, you can draw unemployment right away. So people say, hey, I'd rather be unemployed out in California. I can go lay on the beach and hang out. And so that's why we have 32% of the unemployment people in the nation, even though we only have 12% of the population. We need to start cutting that back. We need to start looking at how other states are keeping their unemployment rolls low.
One of the things that on the show, I agree with you, you're 100% right. Unemployment is an issue because we've been talking about that from the conception of the show.
Yeah.
And that has been the issue that's been going on in California. Unemployment, the fact that people are still hurt that they're getting unemployed. They're losing their houses. There's a lot of issues with both of those. I really want to kind of, I'm keeping it kind of basic issues because I don't think people understand. What's the difference between U.S. Senate and state Senate?
Well, the U.S. Senate, right, you have two people that represent the entire state of California that go to D.C. and state Senate. Right. Well, you know, she's on. We got her on her way out. We got good candidates running against her.
But say who they are because we're in California.
Well, you see, we got 3 Republicans that are running. We have
no. Say the difference between U.S. Senate and state Senate.
Well, state Senate. Basically, what you have is you have 40 state Senate districts in the state of California.
Okay.
And I am running for one of those 40 districts, and so it's very similar. I mean, I think it's more analogous to running for Congress, where you have the different districts, whatever. In fact, my district is 50% larger than the congressional district.
50% larger.
And so 96% of Jane Harmon's district actually sits in mine. So I'm going to have a lot of those Jane Harmon blue dog Democrats that are saying, well, you know, I vote for Jane Harmon because, you know, she's a fiscal conservative and all this other stuff. But for them to also say, I'm also going to choose Jenny Orpeza. Jenny Orpeza is no blue dog Democrat.
No, she's not.
I mean, she is whatever the opposite of a blue dog Democrat is, you know, red weasel Democrat, whatever you want to call it. That's you know,
John,
I don't know.
That's a weasel one.
I don't know what it's called.
You know. Now, John, you know, we always talk about on the show that there's 3 levels of government. There's local, state, and federal.
Right.
You're running for a state.
Illuminati.
Okay?
Right.
And then the U.S. Senate is a federal level.
Shut up, Mom.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay? So with you running for a state Senate, right? See, it's important because, you know, family, I talk about how if you want to make change in your community, you have to call your congressman, you have to call your senators or your assemblymen. And what John is running for, he is running for state senator, okay? So that means if you're in Texas or Florida or Atlanta or Wyoming or Texas or Utah, you contact your state senator to know what they do. They're different than your U.S. senator. Your U.S. senator is in Washington.
Right.
He goes and he's the one that you see in that assembly room of people when they talk up against the president. John, on the other hand, is running. He's a hound dog. He's a grassroots kind of guy. He is working to make sure that the economy in California comes back. Bye.